Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see so many people come just to see me be chairman of the board. It's really nice to have you all join us this morning. Actually, we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to be following that with a moment of silence. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by our District 5 Supervisor, Mike Ennis.
Ready? Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, the first item on the agenda today, I have a feeling, is really the reason why everyone's here. It's not me. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be presenting the Employee of the Year for this last year. But before we begin the presentation, I just wanted to give the board members an opportunity to make a few comments just about this process and really about all the employees that have been nominated. So anyone want to start with some comments? Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I think it's always, it really makes you feel good as an employee, especially in your department, if your peers nominate you as the Employee of the Year. You're all great employees as far as I'm concerned, but there are a few out there that stand out. They just stand out, and they do and go beyond the call of duty. And I think that's what this is all about. This is all about looking at your departments, looking within that department and say, who is the one that really stands out this year in this department and is doing a very, very high job for us? So congratulations to all of you who are nominated. What a great thing just to be nominated, I would have loved to have been nominated as the car salesman of the year or something. I was in the car business. But it always makes you feel good when you know that people out there watch and know that you are doing a good job. So all of you, congratulations for being nominated, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once a year on the 4th of July, we take time to think about our country and its foundations. And one day a year we have this event where we honor an Employee of the Year and honor all the nominees. But I want you to understand that this board recognizes that we really honor you every day of the year. Any success that we have as a county is entirely reliant upon the people who work for the county. Sometimes we get caught up with the idea of capital projects and what are the assets of the county. Believe me, the number one asset of the county are its people. And you make things happen. You are the ones who are the leaders in your. It may be a department, it may be a small group, it may just be a fellow workmate. But believe me, by your work and by your example, you are mentoring, you are developing the future leaders and workers of our county. Now we have a different generation of people. Some of you are among those generations of younger workers, and they have a different attitude about jobs. They need more feedback. They need to be told more frequently how they're doing. And we look to you to help those folks be appreciated, because we, as I say, we do this once a year, but they need a more constant kind of feedback. It's not that they're not good workers, it's just a different kind of a mindset. So I too want to thank you on behalf of the board for the work that you do for our county. I'm glad we have this one day a year, but just recognize we appreciate you each and every day. Thank you.
Hey, I take a little bit of offense to that because, I'm young and I consider myself a good worker, but that's neither here nor there.
My case is closed.
We'll move on to Supervisor Cox.
Well, I don't have anything to say about that. What's really interesting about this, these are peer awards. No one stood up and said, hey, name me Employee of the Year, give me this honor. These come from your peers, these come from your supervisors, so I think that's something that speaks volumes about the people that were nominated this year. Also, every time I have occasion to work with someone on a one-to-one basis, I've always been impressed with the level of professionalism and the amount of care they give to each individual. So thank you for the customer service that you do and for your caring, kind nature. And it's very difficult to pick between that stack of folks that comes in. But it was a very deserving group of individuals, and I think you ought to be very proud, whether you get the top recognition or not, that your peers did nominate you and that you were thought highly of in your department.
And I echo all the comments by my colleagues. You know, every one of you are employees of the year, and I really think that if we could give out 120, which is the number that were nominated, we would give out 120, but we really probably couldn't afford that many weeks of vacation for everyone. But we appreciate all your efforts, and thank you for all that you do for Tulare County and for our residents that live here. At this time, I'm going to be calling forward, I believe, is it HR, or am I going to be calling forward for a PowerPoint presentation, or am I, okay, I'm supposed to read the memo. I don't really like to read the memos, but, okay. All right, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be announcing the Employee of the Year. Actually, I knew exactly what I was doing. I just wanted to build up the suspense a little bit more. What's that? Oh, okay. I'm gonna I will go back to the memo. Jeez, these things just don't make sense to me. All right. So right now, what I would like to do is, for every employee that was nominated this year as an Employee of the Year candidate from each of their respective departments, I would like all of you to stand. I took time for the board to make comments, but I really want to give the audience the time to recognize every nominee in their respective departments. So if you were nominated this year as an Employee of the Year, please do stand at this time.
They're staying wave their hands.
All right, well, thank you very much. These are the faces of all those who have been recognized by their peers and by the various departments in the county for being Employees of the Year. So I really thank you for all that you do, and I appreciate all your efforts on behalf of Tulare County. So at this time, I'm going to be announcing the Employee of the Year who has been selected not only by their peers, but by the board for all that they have done. So the Employee of the Year for 2012, am I going to call it? I'm going to look right there, I mean, because she's running. Okay, you want me to read? Okay, I'm going to just read the darn script. All right. Back to this point, and I didn't run this thing, so. Okay. So, Chairman Vanderpool will then read his script and announce the 2012 Employee of the Year. He will ask... Ooh, that could have given it away. I stopped right there. All right. So the Employee of the Year for 2012 for Tulare County was nominated by the Sheriff's Department this year. And what we're going to be doing is having, I'm going back to the script. I will ask the sheriff to come forward and make some comments about this nominee. But the person who was chosen as the Employee of the Year for 2012 was a man named Sergeant Kevin Kimmerling. So congratulations to Sergeant Kevin Kimmerling. Congratulations, and if we had actual sound effects, it would be the sound of fireworks, so you can see the visual.
Sergeant to come up.
And Sergeant Kimmerling, would you please come forward as well at this time? And Sheriff, you can go ahead with your comments if you'd like.
You're going to do your part first?
Yeah, hey, you read the darn script.
You're not reading the script.
Huh?
You're not reading the script.
Okay, well... I'll present him with the plaque right now. That's fine. You want me to give him the plaque? I mean, I was going to let you go up there with me and pose for a picture, but...
Our Officer of the Year, our Employee of the Year is Sergeant Kevin Kimmerling. You know, when we talked about Kevin, his can-do attitude, his hard work, his loyalty, his commitment to the people in this community, and the people that are around him look up to him, they follow him, and his community where he lives, they depend on him, and he's quick to go out at any time, day or night, to help the folks. And so that's why he's our Employee of the Year. He became a volunteer for the Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team and provided his assistance as EMT from 1999 to 2004. At that time, he decided to attend the police academy and apply for a sworn position with the Sheriff's Office. Kevin was hired by the Sheriff in October of 2004 and began working at the Men's Correctional Facility. February 2006, he became the Springville Resident Deputy. And I might add that they just, when I pulled him out, I almost had a riot up in Springville. He was then transferred to a detective assignment in the Sheriff's Tactical Enforcement Personnel Team in July of 2008, where he became a SWAT team leader. In March of 2010, Kevin was promoted to the rank of sergeant and has been assigned to the Porterville Patrol Division. In addition to his duties as patrol supervisor, Kevin also supervises and is an instructor for the search and rescue dive teams. He is supported by his wife of 11 years, Jill, his 23-year-old stepson, Josh, his family, friends, and co-workers. When you're lost, he's the guy you want out there looking for you. Congratulations, Kevin.
Great job following that script. You did fantastic. All right.
Nobody ever
This-
nominated me for.
This
You're sure for the decade.
in recognition of your great achievement over this last year, and we appreciate all that you do. And I know the residents of Clay County should appreciate it, and feel a lot safer because you're on the streets protecting them. So thank you very much. Thank you. All right, now we're going to pause for a photo. That's one thing that the sheriff's good at. So. He does. Let me take it.
Well, we'll see. We'll talk about it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Sheriff. for the
All right, so now we are off the script, and that's where I excel. So, what I'm going to do is this is an action item, and so I will bring it back to the board for action because we do award the Employee of the Year with an extra week's vacation during the course of the year. We do have to take action as a board to approve that. So,
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
we have a motion by Supervisor Worthley and a second by Supervisor Ennis. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously with one abstention, and that's Supervisor Sheeta. He's not here with us today, so I'd like to say that he didn't vote against you, but you know he definitely wasn't here. So let's make sure you know that, Kevin. Congratulations, and thank you to all of our employees for coming and being a part of this ceremony today. And congratulations to all of you. We appreciate all that you do. So at this time, we will go ahead and take a 1-minute break, and we'll let everyone go ahead and exit the meeting unless you want to stay and listen to me screw up and go off script. I hope you have a great day, everyone, and thank you for all that you do.
stayed up here, turned my phone off, and thought this would have been a minute. Mike's got a schmooze the manager. So, Fallon's at a Sacramento?
Yeah. I don't.
Is he testifying or something?
I don't want to say like if he, I don't really know her. He just told me he wasn't going to be here today. Hey, you know what? I do have to drive up there, and I got to be out of here promptly. So don't talk too much in closed session. I like your new look. I'm gonna start calling you New Look Link.
Well, you know what? I just wanted to show you how to do a mustache.
Okay.
You look younger without it.
Yeah. You do look younger.
Without his tooth?
You're like a snake.
It's true though. Mustaches, beards, always think guys look old.
Yeah.
You look like a guy.
Gene does look old. All right. Let's bring us back to. If I can get everyone to take their seats, we're going to go ahead and move on with our regularly scheduled board meeting agenda. No scripts anymore. All right, the next item on the agenda is public comments. This portion of the meeting, let me see your agenda. This portion of the meeting is reserved for members of the public to comment on any item not appearing on the agenda today. Under state law, the time can be limited and will be to 3 minutes. Is there anyone here to speak under public comments at this time? Sure, go ahead, sir. And you can speak at either microphone. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Myron Sheklian, 3049 West Country Court, Visalia, California. And I'm here and I'm just going to present a letter where I've stated my concerns, and it's regarding some inaccuracies on the records of the county tax rolls and my frustration in trying to get them corrected and the inability to get anything done through channels. And so I've been at enough meetings that I'm not going to sit here and read this letter to you. Instead, what I'm going to do is just present it to you with the backup information and hope that you will consider it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and we will definitely look into it and have someone be contacting you very soon. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chair, so let you know, this, Mr. Shecklin did provide the information to me, and that was passed on to the tax collector a couple of weeks ago.
Okay,
But we'll do it again.
thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Are there any other public comments this morning? Sure.
Morning, Supervisors. My name is Jeff Howard, Geoffhoward. I live at 3901 North Carson Street. That's in Visalia, California. I sat next to Supervisor Worthley at a Farm Bureau event last year, I believe. Probably going again next month as well. I'm actually here representing the 3,000 members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in the Visalia area. I've prepared a letter that I'll hand out to each of you with an additional handout. I mailed out a letter, and hopefully you've received it. If not, here's a copy as well. But just came here to invite each of you supervisors to, thank you. We have an annual day of service that's actually not just in this community, but throughout the state of California and Hawaii. It's usually the last day of April every year, and it's called Mormon Helping Hands. You may have seen the yellow vests out last year or in previous years out around the community doing good. We believe in serving our neighbors and serving the community, and we look for input from you as well as to additional projects that we might be able to do. Last year in the state of California and Hawaii, there were over 70,000 volunteers that worked on over 500 projects. This year in Visalia, and you can look at the letter that I just handed to you, but we have 10 projects here in the Visalia and surrounding communities. At Mooney Grove Museum, at Cutler Park, at the Packwood Ponding Basin, at Harold's Grove Park. We're doing some graffiti removal. We have 3 projects of painting and or gardening at 3 elementary schools in Visalia. There's a blood drive, and there's also a very heartwarming project for a nonprofit called Hats and Hair from Kids Who Care. This nonprofit was started by a young member of one of our congregations, and she went through cancer herself. And when she came out on the other end, okay, she decided that she wanted to do something for other young cancer patients. So she has a nonprofit that creates hats with hair extended out that they go out and give to hospitals to cancer patients. So if any of you want to participate in a very heartwarming project, you could come to that. So Mormon Helping Hands, again, is this Saturday, April 27th. All of the projects start at 9 a.m. They go till about 11:30 till we're done, and then there will be a barbecue at Mooney Grove, and everyone's invited to come to that after. And there's additional information. If you go to the website on here, you can click and find the exact spots of the projects. My contact information is on here as well, so if you have any questions about where to go for the projects, especially if any of you plan to attend, we'd love to just meet you there, make sure you're taken care of. And also, we welcome your input as well. If there's some other projects around the community that you believe that we can help out with, we welcome that. And I very much appreciate your time this morning, and sorry that we got rid of the big crowd that we had here earlier. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming today. Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comment? Okay, seeing no one, we're going to bring it back to the board for Board of Supervisors matters, and we're going to go ahead and begin today with the supervisor without a mustache, Supervisor Mike Ennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. I didn't get to the meeting at Lower Tule because I was in Washington, D.C. I got the updates on Success Dam. It's looking pretty sad up there. 27,000 acre-feet of water in Success Dam. And really, with the snowpack is gone, I don't see any. We might make 30,000 or 35,000 this year. And with Friant water users being cut back to 50% of Class A water, it's going to be tough sledding down there for the farmers. They're going to have to pump groundwater, which is not good. So we have bought the Corps did buy the properties below the dam, though, the Alba property, the trailer park, and Randall Carroll's property. So the SOG committee, which is the senior oversight group, will be meeting in July and hopefully give us a higher DSAC rating so that we can move forward in the future with doing the enlargement of the pool. So, but that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Woodley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Mike's comments made me think of something I heard this morning of my local Rotary Club. The Alta Irrigation District is looking at the second, 125 years of recorded history, the second driest season that they've ever had this year. Last year, their season ran about at least 3 months because they had to carry over from the following year, previous wet year. This year, they'll be lucky to run 5 weeks, and so there's a lot of pumping going on. Early, groundwater was expected to drop quite a significant amount. So this is going to be a tough year this year, and as my colleague said, with the change in the reduction on the Friant, Class 1 users being reduced to 50%, where many of those places have difficulty finding groundwater, this will be a very difficult year for us from a water standpoint. So just keep in mind from the standpoint of our own what we can do to be conservation minded, everything that we can do will be helpful because we really rely upon that groundwater. I really don't have a lot more to report. This coming Saturday in Goshen, they're going to have a solar-thon. It's a project to put solar panels on a lot of the self-help housing that's in the project area there over in the Goshen, and I hope to be able to attend that. Been very busy this last. There's 1 week of the month. It seems like everything sort of congregates, and so the Air Board meets that week, and TCAG meets that week, and last week was that kind of a week. So this week we have a little bit of a breather, but again, appreciate you all being here this morning. Thank you.
Supervisor Cox.
On Saturday, I will be out with the Mormon Helping Hands wearing a yellow vest working at Mooney Grove. So Neil Pilgard left, so I'm glad that he'd probably give me something really nasty to do. Last time I
Buck out the lake.
Well, oh boy, that would be nasty, wouldn't it? Last time my wife and I took a room and they said dust, and we thought, oh, that'll be easy, but what we didn't realize, it hadn't been dusted for 6 months, and so it ended up being a huge job, but we were very happy when we were done. Last week, very active week, like Supervisor Worley mentioned. At the Agricultural Advisory Policy Committee, we had an interesting discussion about the makeup of that group, and they will be recommending a restructure to the board that I think the board will find very workable, very pleasing, and that should be coming forth in the next 30 days or so. Last week also, First Five had a Hands-on Heroes event, very well attended, had approximately 180 people at the Holiday Inn, where we presented awards to individuals who were also recognized by and recommended by their peers. So a very successful event for First Five. This Thursday, we have the Step Up Challenge Awards at the Fox Theater. Those will take place from 6 p.m. to 7:30, and this is the end of the 19 service projects that were done countywide by junior high schools and high schools. And if you want to know who won, you're going to have to show up, because nothing will be announced until we have the actual students on stage. So we're excited about that. Fox Theater from 6 to 7:30 this Thursday. Hope you can come. That's it.
All right, thank you, Supervisor. Just going to go over a couple things that I've got going on. Today I will be speaking at a California Auditors Conference that's being held, I believe it's in northern Fresno County, and we'll be speaking there and then heading right back for a meeting. Also this Wednesday at 6 p.m. At the Holiday Inn is the District Attorney's Victims Quilt Ceremony. They will be unveiling the quilt this year, and that should be a great event, and appreciate all that office does for the victims of crime in our community. Atwell Island Solar Farm will be having a ribbon cutting and tours this Thursday at 11. That's out in Alpaugh. That's going to be a great thing to go out and check out that project and see all that they've done out there. And it's really pretty amazing. It's a very large facility out there that's got mutual benefits for not only renewable energy generation, but also for the water district that owns the ground out there. Also, this Friday at 9 a.m., they will be having the Special Olympics in Tulare at the Bob Mathias Stadium. That's a great event, and sure appreciate all the effort that the Kiwanis clubs of Tulare County put into putting on that event, and it really does get a great turnout, and it's wonderful to see all of these athletes compete and really have a great day and enjoy themselves. Also on Saturday, HACER is going to be having a scholarship dinner at the Heritage Complex in Tulare at 5 p.m. And then that's a great organization that I actually got a scholarship from when I was in high school. And they do a great job recognizing youth in the community who have excelled in high school and plan to go on to college, and hopefully will be coming back to this area to give back to the community. Lastly, the last thing I'll mention right now is the Tulare Athletic Boxing Club will be having a fundraiser at the home of Jimmy and Tammy Valov on Saturday at 6 p.m. in Tulare, and I will be the MC there with no script. So I encourage everyone to attend and help support these great organizations that are having events throughout our community. Real quick, before we get to our timed item on the agenda today, we'll take up the consent calendar. We are going to be pulling item number 10 for separate consideration. Any other board members or members of the public have other items they would like to pull and have considered separately?
A motion to approve consent calendar,
Less item 10?
less item 10.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Cox and a second by Supervisor Worthley. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously, less Supervisor Ishida, who is not present this morning. All right, we will take up item 10 very briefly, and then we will get on to our 9:30 timed item.
Good morning, Brooke Stair with Solid Waste. The agenda item before you today is to consider a contract with West Coast Waste for wood and green waste processing. And I would also mention that Denise Akins was very helpful in putting this RFP together and the presentation. Essentially, what's happening with the wood and green waste that comes to the county landfills now is it's being diverted or recycled so it doesn't end up in the landfill. The county's been doing that for some 10, 15 years now to comply with the state's 50% recycling goal. And this is essentially the wood and green waste or vegetative matter from land clearing debris or from lawn and landscape maintenance activities that comes to the landfill. I also wanted to mention that this, along with all the RFPs in the division, are being reevaluated over the next few months. Number one, we have a major budget shortfall, and so we're looking at those contracts to make sure that they are needed, that they apply, and that we are subjecting them to competitive pricing. So all the RFPs are being reviewed right now. The previous vendor that had this contract terminated it in September of last year because they were taking it as a fuel to a biomass plant, and that material was rejected because they've had some changes at the plant, so we had to put it out a little bit early. But the RFP was issued in late January, proposals received back in February. And when we reviewed the proposal or the RFP, we decided there were a few changes that we needed to make to reflect today. And one was we wanted to keep the wood and green waste out of the landfill. And number two, we wanted to utilize a fraction of it to help in wet weather operating conditions. We don't get a lot of rain here, but when we do, it causes erosion on the side slopes of the landfill, and the roads become slick and customers get stuck. And so if we can take a portion of the ground material, which is essentially mulch, and apply that to the side slopes and to the roads, it fortifies it so customers can get in and out of the site easily. We don't think we need very much material for that, but we'd like to keep some for our needs. We can also use the material as alternative daily cover, and I wanted to explain that to you a little bit. Garbage has to be covered each night with a minimum of 6 inches of earthen material. That's an EPA rule. So if you can imagine 6 inches of soil on, and we're open 6 days a week, so we've got to cover it 6 times a week. That's 36 inches each week times 52 weeks. So you're putting 150 feet of dirt in your landfill. You're filling up your landfill with soil instead of garbage. So we don't think that's very cost effective, and neither does the EPA. So they allow alternatives. And the ones that we have chosen here in Tulare County are to use tarps, which are rolled out and then picked back up the next morning, and a thin film plastic, which is kind of a giant roll of saran wrap. Roll that out on the landfill and you leave it. You don't bother to pick that up. But essentially, those alternatives don't use any airspace, so we don't have to consume the landfill with materials we don't want. We can save it for garbage. So the actions we took were to raise the tipping fee at the landfill so that we would encourage customers to directly haul their material to a composter. So again, it doesn't come to the landfill. And the other thing we did in the RFP was we gave 2 options. One, you will grind it and create mulch and then haul it to a composter or to use as a fuel, or you would grind it, make it a mulch, and leave it on site for us to use. But then we have 100% control of how much material we keep on site versus how much gets recycled. We sent out 14 RFPs in total. We got 2 responses, one from WC Wood Industries and one from West Coast Waste. It's just a very brief summary, but they were very evenly matched as far as experience and qualifications. We gave a slight edge to WC Wood because they were a local vendor, but as you can see from the pricing options, West Coast Waste had the better price. So we had 3 independent scores evaluated, and again, West Coast Waste was ranked higher. And then we did a cost comparison. And again, assuming a worst-case scenario where 50% of the material would be kept on site, I think that's extreme. I would think we're going to keep about 10 to 20%. But just basing it on a worst-case scenario, WC Wood Industries came in at $300,000 a year, and West Coast Waste came in at $252,000 a year, which is a $48,000 a year savings. So based on the score and the price, we are recommending that you award the contract to West Coast Waste. And again, that's a 3-year contract with a possible 1-year extension. Total annual cost is $254,000, but the savings over 3 years is $148,000. And the best part is we have 100% control over how much material we keep at the landfill versus how much gets recycled. I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Great, thanks, Bruce. Anyone have any questions on the board?
Any questions from members of the public? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for action.
For approval.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. So a motion by Supervisor Ennis, a second by Supervisor Worthley. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Glad to see these RFPs going out and being successful. It's a true public process, and I think we're going to see a lot of benefits to our solid waste system because of it. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Brooks. All right, now we're going to move on to our 9:30 timed item. That is a public hearing, a request from the Resource Management Agency to approve a categorical exemption per the general rule exemption and the state CEQA guidelines. Mr. Spada. Nice tie, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Rousseau, council. Mike Spada, RMA Planning. The matter before you today is a proposed extension of an interim ordinance prohibiting the establishment of new medical marijuana collectives and cooperatives and the expansion of existing legal medical marijuana collectives and cooperatives within the unincorporated area of Tulare County. The proposed additional extension period is for 22 months and 15 days, specifically from May 3rd, 2013 to March 18th, 2015. There are two reasons for this proposed extension. If I may say, on March 19th, your board adopted an interim ordinance that lasted for only 45 days, and part of that action was to set this matter for a public hearing where we are here today. Again, there are two reasons for this proposed extension. Number one, recent case law has emerged which necessitates the county to conduct additional research, review, investigation, development, and creation, if applicable, of new or amended policies, ordinances, and processes regarding the regulation of medical marijuana collectives and cooperatives. The second reason is this. The county is concerned about the detriments associated with the operations of medical marijuana collectives and cooperatives, specifically in terms of the impacts to the public health, safety, and welfare. In doing so, the county seeks to protect the public health, safety, and welfare by prohibiting, for an interim period, new medical marijuana establishments or the expansion of existing legal medical marijuana establishments, while it is considering possible revisions to the plans, policies, and processes as I indicated. Now, importantly, the evidence supporting the public health, safety, and welfare impacts have been described and detailed in Attachment 3 in your packet. In addition, with regard to the California Environmental Quality Act, the proposed action before you is categorically exempt per the general rule exemption as identified in State CEQA Guidelines Section 15061B3. In essence, it is exempt from CEQA because there is no possibility that this proposed extension may have a significant effect on the environment. Why? The reason is that we are not allowing uses by your action today. We are prohibiting uses, in which case there should be no physical change to the environment, in which case the proposed ordinance would be exempt from CEQA. On the strength of the presentation today, as well as in your packet, there are a number of items that staff is requesting, and if you bear with me, I need to read them very specifically and clearly. Action item 1 is hold a public hearing on April 23, 2013. 2, to approve a categorical exemption per the general rule exemption 14 Cal Code Regs section 15061B3 pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act and state CEQA guidelines. Thirdly, to adopt, pursuant to Government Code Section 65858, an urgency measure, an extension of an interim ordinance, Tulare County Ordinance Number 3446, prohibiting the establishment of new medical marijuana collectives and cooperatives and the expansion of existing legal medical marijuana collectives and cooperatives for an interim period of time in the unincorporated areas of Tulare County. Adoption of this interim ordinance shall be for shall require a 4/5 vote and shall be in effect 22 months and 15 days from May 3, 2013 and expiring on March 18, 2015. Fourth, to direct the clerk of the board to publish the ordinance within 15 days after passage in the Visalia Times Delta. Fifth, adopt this agenda item regarding extension of interim ordinance as the written report required by Government Code Section 65858 to be adopted 10 days prior to the extension of the interim urgency ordinance, and to describe the measures taken to alleviate the conditions which led to the adoption of the ordinance. Sixth and finally, direct the Environmental Assessment Officer of the Tulare County Resource Management Agency to file a notice of exemption with the Tulare County Clerk. That completes my presentation. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and I'll be happy to answer any.
Any questions from board members? Okay, seeing
Very
no
well.
questions, I will open up the public hearing and allow members of the public to comment. And again, this is specifically referring to no new or expansion of existing cooperatives or collectives in Tulare County. At this time, I'll open the public hearing and open it to members of the public for questions or comments. Your time will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and you may come forward at this time if you would like, and please state your name and address for the record. You can speak at either microphone if you'd like.
Morning. New to this, my name is David Joe Lopez. I live at 12922 Cannon Avenue in Cutler, California. I'm here because I'm a stage 3 cancer patient, and never did the pot thing, only in high school, you know, experimented, but I was down to 111 pounds, and I got introduced to the marijuana process and where to get it and everything, and how to cook with it and how to eat and everything. I'm in remission for 4 years. There's a lot of people doing the wrong thing with it. I understand that, but there's a lot of us that really need it, and we need the dispensaries. We need this. I got a lot of fellow patients at Sequoia Regional Cancer Center that are getting healthy. They're eating. They're relieving some pain. I mean, they don't take the pain away, but it relieves it. I mean, you lose your eyesight, you lose everything, feeling everything, and that helps you. It relaxes you. And I really hate to see this go on, because there's a lot of us that really need it, and I'm one of them. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Going once, going twice. All right, public hearing is now closed. I will bring it back to the board for discussion and action. Anyone have any comments or any desires for the
Chairman,
board?
just a comment as to the last speaker, again, just to reiterate what you had said, which is that this does not close any of the existing dispensaries. This simply prohibits the expansion of dispensaries that we now have, or creation of new dispensaries during this interim period of time. And I would move for approval with all the items 1 through 6 as specified by the presenter.
Okay, great. We have a motion by Supervisor Worthley and a second by Supervisor Ennis. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously 4-0 with Supervisor Rashida not here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'd just like to state for the record, to support Mr. Spada's findings, that in the last few weeks we've pulled, with the help of the Sheriff's Department, we've abated over 150 plants that were not planted in compliance with your board's ordinance. They were not in the correct zone, and they were being grown outdoors.
Okay.
So there is a need for some control while we try to navigate our way through the medical marijuana laws.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Council. Appreciate that. Next, we're going to move on to the untimed items section of our meeting. We're going to take up item number 11. That's a request from Information Communications Technology to approve an agreement with Tyler Technologies, Inc. for the amount of $911,000 to license and implement the permitting and land management system. Peg?
Morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, CAO, and County Council. I'm here today to present to you a proposal to implement a new PALM system, which is a land permit and land management system with enterprise GIS and master addressing. This presentation will include background, the costs, benefits, and then the requested action. There's 3 parallel elements. One is the PALM system, The other is master addressing and enterprise GIS. Each are critical to make this project successful. ICT, along with Resource Management Agency, issued a request for proposal to replace our current systems, and 4 vendors replied to the RFP. We went through the 4 proposals and we rated that. There were participants from the Assessor's Office, RMA, Fire, and the ICT Department. After the 4 proposals were submitted and evaluated, we narrowed it down to 3, which were actually demonstrated. Those 3 that were demonstrated were narrowed to 2, and then 1 was selected. And here's the ratings, with 1 being the highest and 4 being the lowest. So this is how they came out: Energov, CRW, Acela, and CSDC when we first reviewed the proposals. Energov, CRW, and Acela when we actually reviewed the demonstrations and the references that have been presented. We felt that it was the best, and when I say we, I mean the collective, the committee, not just ICT, but the committee felt this was the best balance between cost and functionality. Had full integration with GIS, which we feel is critical. There was interdepartmental integration possible, and the referenced examples better matched our needs in the county. The total cost of this project is about $2,300,000. This includes the licensing, maintenance, implementation, staff training, hardware costs. We're asking for 2 new positions, one within RMA and one within ICT, to help support this project. And then other costs are things like staff time that can't be billed out to something else that would be charged against this project, so existing staff time.
Should I ask a quick question here? I see the 2 new positions, 268,000. This is for a multi-year projection?
Yes.
Thank you.
The trust fund allocation of $2.3 million for the project, and then the 2 positions needed as the resource allocations. The benefits of the PALMS project are numerous. The current system is antiquated, needs to be updated. We will be able to do better statistical reporting. We'll have enterprise GIS available, and it'll be available to multiple departments that'll be able to utilize that information. And we'll standardize workflows, improving efficiencies. In the first phase, we'll look to implement this in the permit center, project review, building, code enforcement, public works, the CAO's office, the Board of Supervisors office, assessor, and fire. Then later, when we have the first phase done, other departments that could benefit from this is the Ag Department, Environmental Health, Sheriff Elections, HHSA, Probation, Solid Waste, and there are various other departments. Project initiation at the counter for the permit center will be simplified, allowing us to cut the wait times that customers spend trying to get through that project initiation. With cross-referencing, the counter staff will be aware of all pertinent information regarding a particular property, including violations and conditions of approval. There'll be a clear and uniform addressing system. Right now, a lot of departments have addressing systems, and they don't necessarily all agree. We might have RD, we might have road, we might have AVE or avenue or AV, or everybody kind of has their own way of doing it. We need to get to a standard so all these systems can talk to one another and we can share the information. There'll be AFIN integration to allow easier tracking of fees paid and expended. Automated preparation of documents. Again, we're looking for efficiencies, trying to make this more efficient, a more efficient process. Land use research will become easier. Online permit issuance may be possible. The online inspection scheduling will be possible. The IVR scheduling that we currently have will continue, but we want to add the online piece of it. Inspection updates will be completed in the field, so rather than having to come back to the department and do all your updates when you get back there, actually when you're on site, you can be doing your updates out there. And it can actually automate routes, so the inspectors, when they go out, are on a route that's been pre-planned, and they're more efficiently doing those routes instead of North County, South County, West, North, and not quite as efficient. There'd be access to property notes regarding potential for code enforcement, regarding potential hazards. Inspectors can document violations witnessed during travel to scheduled inspections. So if they're out going somewhere else, they could note it right then within the system. Form letters can be generated for code enforcement process. A countywide code enforcement system can be used and assessed by many departments. Public works benefits, the encroachment permits, and transportation permits can be tracked much more efficiently and effectively. Encroachment permits and transformation permits can be located in the field. For the assessor, with implementation of this project, the technological infrastructure will be available for them to upgrade their property management system, which we all know that we need to get to, and it's something that is definitely on our mind. We're looking at how to do this, but this would lay some of the foundation that we would use for that process. The assessor would also be able to more effectively and efficiently update their information. The fire department, complete address database can enhance the fire department's ability to respond more quickly. They can access building permit violations during inspections and emergency response requests. And as we enter this information, the information about hazardous materials that are there would be made available immediately. They'd know when they were rolling up on a fire if there was something there that could be harmful either to the members of the public or to our firefighters while they're out there. The system can be used to schedule and manage annual fire inspections. Access to environmental health septic information will be valuable. This information is not in the current system. For the board and for the CAO, you would have instant access to the project and permit history. So if somebody called you on the phone, you would be able to go into the system and call up the information and see exactly what was going on, where this was at, instead of having to, I'll get the answer for you and get back to you in the same amount of time. You could pull that information up and have a constituent who wasn't left waiting for somebody else to call back and give them the information. Financial progress reports could be available through AFIN integration. A shared code enforcement system would allow for more clarity and could reduce calls to the Board of Supervisors and the CAO. Code enforcement trends may be analyzed by the Board of Supervisors and the CAO. Again, we're trying to provide more information to you, so when the constituents talk to you, you have an idea of what's going on. You aren't blindsided by something or have no way of getting it, and that constant answer of "I'll get back to you." It will make it a little easier for you to respond to those things. Many services may be available online. To increase transparency, permit tracking and project status reports will also be available online. With increased efficiencies, wait times at the counter will be reduced. For the Ag Department, they could make their permit information, pesticides and other ag-related permits, available to other county agencies by linking the records to the GIS map in the system, and access to zoning information would be useful. Environmental health, workflow of other departments that rely on environmental health approvals would be improved. Possible sheriff benefits. Access to the historical information about a particular property would be useful to the investigation and response. And again, if there's something hazardous out there and we have an officer that's going to roll up, a deputy that's going to roll up on that, we want them to be protected as well as the public. Officers could have access to existing code enforcement cases. So we are here to request that you approve the Tyler, they were Intergov, they were indeed bought out by Tyler, so it's now Tyler Intergov contract. Approve the 2 new positions, and approve the odd 308 for the budget amendments. Authorize the chairman to sign the agreement. And I stand for any questions that you may have.
Any questions from board members? Supervisor?
Thank you. Gosh, sounds better than sliced bread. A couple questions I had are, how mature is this actual program? How many years has it been in existence?
I actually have a representative here that will probably be able to answer that. Colin? Where are you? Oh, here we are. Since 2002.
Great. Well, and my reason for asking that is that we're all keenly aware of those types of programs that are being beta tested and that sort of thing.
Right.
And I think it's very important that we're looking at reliability and something which has proven itself to be very effective, and it sounds like this one fits the bill. Another question came to me, and this is perhaps the first question is, we know we've been looking for a new property tax program for, I would say, going on decades now. It's been going on for some time.
That's safe.
My question is, I know we've been looking at different things, and I think what I've heard that through the grapevine, there may be some kind of a targeted program that we're looking at. Will it integrate with this particular program? Is there some benefit that would come from this particular project and the one that would be coming up in the near, hopefully not too distant future?
Depending on what is finally selected, and if the one that has been discussed quite a bit is the one that is, it has underpinnings within GIS. So since this integrates tightly with GIS, yes, there would be support there for that.
Great. Now, my other question is one that's somewhat more difficult to answer, and I think it may not be answerable, but at least something for us to think about. When I think about greater efficiencies, two things come to mind. One is reduced costs and/or enhanced performance. As we measure those things going forward, they have implications to our budget, to our staffing levels. You've mentioned a lot of different departments, a lot of different agencies that could be impacted by this program in a positive way. And I'm wondering, and maybe since we have the folks from the company here, that if there are testimonials about other experiences of other counties, other cities, where through implementing this, they've been able to reduce their labor force or reduce their costs for permit fees because of greater efficiencies, or they've had enhanced performance that has just been needed to meet today's requirements.
Can you speak to that?
Sure. My name is Nathan Bohr. I'm the Director of Client Relations at Intergov/Tyler. We do have a list of ROIs out there that can present the return on investment for different areas. It really depends on the project, what we're replacing, what kind of benefits we're going to be bringing in, but we do have those numbers.
And I think it might be helpful if that could be shared with our different departments, because as they have an expectation of what they might anticipate going from whatever we have to going to this particular program, what would be a reasonable expectation of either, as I say, reduced cost, reduced personnel, or enhanced performance?
And we will do that. That's a very good point, and thank you. We'll make sure that happens.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Any other questions?
No, I just have a comment. I think that streamlining everything out there will get less calls to the Board of Supervisors.
Absolutely.
Okay, now a couple of my questions that I had for you. I know we're going to be bringing on 2 new FTEs with this system. It's a 3-year system, or it's a 3-year contract, I guess. What happens to those employees once the contract expires, once this project's complete? Will they be able to be absorbed within the county?
It's going to depend. I know within ICT, we're looking at a significant amount of retirements over those 3 years.
Okay.
And we're hoping to bring this person up to speed, that they can take over some of those roles
Okay.
in supporting this system. And within RMA, I would say the same is true, as we're looking at integrating them into the department.
Okay, great. And then the last thing I'll make, or last comment I'll make, is kind of getting on the soapbox a little bit. I noticed in your presentation you mentioned this tracking system that would benefit the fire department, it would benefit sheriff's department, it would benefit a resource management agency, it would benefit environmental health. Does this eliminate the need for a business license now? Because we now have this new technology system that's going to benefit every department so much. So do we have to burden our businesses in this county with additional costs, additional requirements, additional applications and fees, et cetera? So you don't have to respond to that. That's just a rhetorical comment / question, but you've just given me some ammunition for my gun. So I appreciate it, and thank you for bringing this forward. I think it's a great project that will yield many benefits to all the departments that have been mentioned. So I appreciate it, and we'll bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to respond to your question.
Go ahead.
I think it's a good marriage. I think the one will help facilitate the other. You need to have this type of a system in place in order to do a good business license program. So the answer to your question is yes.
Okay, well then maybe we'll implement the business license, but there will be no fee. Go ahead.
Chairman, I'm not going to get in the middle of that because I know it's going to be coming back before the board. But one thing I was just going to comment on, and Mike alluded to that, but currently when we have someone call our office with a problem, typically, let's say with the RMA folks have a question, our staff will go back to the RMA director or the appropriate person with a query. If it comes from me, it might go from me to our administrative staff or directly to the appropriate agency. They will then send it back down to somebody down below that will respond back up, who responds back to us. Email has helped a great deal, but nonetheless, I think you can see where if we have the ability to go in and look directly at the status of something, we may be able to eliminate several steps there and a lot of people's valuable time that could be better spent doing something else. So I'm all for this. I mean, to me, this is what we have to do going forward as a county. We have to become more efficient with what we do. We have to get more bang for the buck. It's an old expression, but it's true. We need to continue to be more efficient, and in so doing, it allows us to hire a higher quality type people to service these needs, pay them a fee, a salary that is a livable wage, and do so without having to increase the burden on the taxpayers of Tulare County. And so, to me, this is our overall goal and objective as a county. This is a very important part of doing that. So thanks for all the hard work bringing it to us today, and I'm very happy to support it today. Thank you.
Is that a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Worthley and a second by Supervisor Cox. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously with one
Thank you.
abstention from Supervisor Shida, who's not here. So there are 4 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, that concludes the open session of our board meeting. I'm sorry. What am I? Boy, I'm just excited to get on the road and start driving. So, and geez, it comes from the auditor's office, and I'm going to go speak at an auditor's conference. So, this is a request from the treasurer tax collector to approve an agreement with the Bank of the Sierra to establish a new bank account to allow county departments and special districts in outlying areas to deposit directly into the bank. Kylie?
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Hailey Wallace, and I am the Chief Deputy Treasurer Tax Collector for the County of Tulare. Hello, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I am here today to tell you about a new service the County Treasurer is setting up. Technically challenged here. Okay, this service is designed to improve cash management and provide better service to county departments and special districts. For districts located in outlying areas of the county, the Treasurer's Office has set up an account with the Union Bank that will allow the district deposits to go directly to the bank rather than coming all the way to the Treasurer's Office in Visalia. The Treasurer's Office is in the process of opening similar accounts with Bank of Sierra for those areas in which Union Bank does not service. How will this service work? Districts located in outlying areas of the county can contact the Treasurer's Office to be assigned an ID number and order special deposit slips. The districts will receive training on how to prepare the deposits for the bank. After the training, the new deposit slips are received. The district will go or can go to the nearest bank location and make their deposit. Okay, the districts will then complete the cash receipt document for the county's accounting system. Credits for the deposit will be given to the districts when the deposit appears on the bank statement and the cash receipt is received for the county treasury. The goals of this project are to provide greater convenience and efficiency to the operations of the outlying areas of the county, reduce costs associated with time lost during the travel, reduce costs to travel reimbursement claims associated with transporting deposits to Visalia, increase cash management through more frequent deposits, and reduce the number of vehicle miles traveled to help improve air quality within the county. Here I show a map of the locations that will be available to the districts for their deposits. And in conclusion, Rita Woodard of the auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector, and the treasury staff are excited to be able to offer this new service to districts in outlying areas. Any questions?
All right, any questions from board members?
I'd save a lot of gas. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'll just make a comment too. I think this is really great that we're offering this service to special districts as well. We know that they need a lot of help at times, and costs are very important for controlling for them, especially when their budgets are so small. So I think there's going to be a lot of efficiencies that are going to be gained.
Plus, Bank of Sierra's corporate offices are in Porterville, so that,
Is this Bank of Sierra? Okay, it is. Darn it.
I would move for approval.
I'm just teasing you, Mikey.
I'll move for that.
All right, there's a motion by Supervisor Ennis, a second by Supervisor Cox. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously 4-0 with Supervisor Ishida being absent. Thank you for the presentation. We appreciate it. And now that wraps up our board meeting, the open session, and we will move into closed session. My apologies for being a little off today. I do blame it on another Porterville entity, though. K-Tip had me on the radio till 8 o'clock this morning, so I've just been off ever since. So
That was his wake-up call.
yeah. All right. Yeah, well, your wake-up call is at the same time, so you can shave that mustache. So appreciate everyone coming today. Thank you for joining our board meeting. We will now adjourn to closed session. Council, do we have need?
Yes, we do have a need for closed session. We have items A through G on your board's closed session agenda. I do not anticipate announcements.
Thank you.